Amir, welcome back.
Thank you. Great to be here.
We actually didn't go anywhere, but yeah, glad to have you. Um, we're gonna tap into the nitty gritty details
Okay.
of your life story because this is my way of giving back to our guests. Um, we touch upon a few things here. One is helping our audience, of course. Two, this is my passion project, so thank you so much for coming on. And in order to give back, I like to capture a little bit of your biography.
Hmm.
So tell me, where were you born?
A place called Torquay.
What?
Yeah.
Where's
A place called Torquay in England.
Torquay?
Yes, Torquay.
Okay.
So it's spelled Torquay.
Mm.
And it's in the southern part of England, near Devon, near Exeter. There are some places that people might know. But it's like near the foot of the southern part of England.
How long did you live there after you were born?
Didn't stay in Torquay for too long. I don't really remember it that much. We moved around quite a bit. My father he's retired now, a doctor. And so he had immigrated into England from Pakistan. And he moved from job to job.
Yeah.
So at different hospitals. So we lived in Wales, we lived in Liverpool, we lived in Edinburgh, which is in Scotland. And then ultimately we ended up in London, just north of London.
What county?
Hertfordshire.
Hertfordshire.
Yeah, Hertfordshire County. Yeah. Yeah, just about 13 miles. I think I got that right. 13 miles north of London.
What train stop did you get off of?
Walthamstow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And I went to, definitely a throwback. I had to think about that one for a second. Walthamstow, that was it. And then you had to walk. And then I went to school. Yeah, to a grammar school. What's that Hogwarts? What's that? It was like Hogwarts. Hogwarts. I had an education like Hogwarts.
Cool.
With a uniform and a crest and the whole 9 yards. Yeah.
So you were learning magic spells in England.
Yeah, that's great.
That's great. Now, when you got off, did you take the bus or did you get dropped off?
I walked.
You walked. Okay.
Yeah.
So picture this. Picture the front door of your house.
Yeah.
When you're in elementary school, grammar school. You're about to open the door as a kid. What kind of feelings are you getting as you're walking in the door?
You do not want to go there. Massive depression. As a young kid,
Yeah.
I hated my life.
Yeah.
As a young kid, I hated my existence. I hated being in England. And one of the main reasons I hated being in England was because, for those people, if we're not showing what I look like, I'm brown. I'm Pakistani. My parents are Pakistani. And we were discriminated against a lot. At school, I was picked on all the time. And the only thing I wanted to do was get out of life.
Yeah.
Not only get out of where I was, but ultimately it came down to me putting a knife to my stomach at that time, and just almost pulling the trigger, if you will. Yeah, it was just horrible. It was just a horrible existence. And on top of that, the weather is always, cloudy and gloomy.
Now and then you get a sunny day, and it's all people talk about.
That's right.
Is the weather if it's sunny.
That's right.
They're like,
That's
oh my God.
Yeah.
So you walk inside. What about the family life though? How was that?
Yeah, so I come from Asian parents.
Yeah.
And my mother was my best friend. And I was raised with an iron fist.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's tough.
So what tell us whatever you could share me about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a particular area that my father comes from, and it's called Punjabi.
I heard of that Punjabi clap.
Yeah,
It's a song.
okay. It's from that region. It's a part of India, but it also spans that territory or that clan or that community or that sect, whatever, spans into Pakistan also. And they're very, very tough-minded. what's a good warrior-like almost, if you will.
Yeah.
Farmers, very tough life, very but very not privileged, very particular
Mm.
about the way things should be. And that unfortunately comes from dogmatism. It comes from generational learning. And then, in the beginning of that generational learning, it's enlightenment, but then it turns into dogmatism because the forefathers are passing down what's best. And they say, no, you must do it this way. No, you must do it this way. No, you must do it this way. And so it becomes dogmatic instead of, you must do it. This is probably the best way to do it because, but now it's trickling down to me. I'm like, the nth generation in that Punjabi, long line of, you have to do it this way. Otherwise, you're going to get beaten. And so that's basically the way it was. Yeah.
So you're in elementary school, you're getting pressure from the peers.
Yes.
They're saying stupid stuff. And then you go inside the house and it's rigid.
Yes.
Cold.
Yes.
How did you cope with that at such a young age?
Yeah, that's my sort of, get into your own cocoon. Yeah. You build your own sort of mind life in your mind. And very low self-esteem, low self-confidence, and introverted. Yeah, very, very much to myself. And I was the eldest of 4 boys.
What did you do to escape?
Read.
Yeah,
basically.
That's good.
Yeah,
so that's healthy. It's a good choice.
Good. I wasn't very studious at school. In fact, my grades suffered.
Well, you probably didn't give a crap.
It's not that I didn't give a crap. It's just that I just couldn't figure out what life was all about because there's this like massive ceiling above me that I can't break out of. And so it's you retreat into whatever, TV shows maybe, or perhaps reading.
Yeah, just things to take your mind off stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. In middle school, did things pivot for you at all? You're 13, hormones driving up out the wazoo.
Yeah.
Maybe you're looking at girls at this point in time or whatever's going on, right? I don't know. What was that like?
It was much the same. It wasn't that changed slightly when we went to Nigeria.
Was it the same house though? Or did you move from where you were?
So we were in that house,
mm-hmm.
And then we did a jump over to Nigeria, of all places.
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
London to Nigeria.
Okay. And that was interesting. That was very interesting.
I can only imagine.
That's where I became, so that's where I became Pakistani, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And Pakistanis have a very, it's very similar to Indian or India or Indian culture. It's the same. It's basically the same. And lots of laughter, lots of doing little, we call it musties. What's the translation of musties? Doing, being, pranks. Yeah. As a kid, and all of my community that we jumped into when we were in Nigeria were all Pakistanis. So there was like a group, just a community of Pakistanis that had descended into Nigeria at that time because Nigeria had turned a corner in economic development. And so they were offering jobs to engineers, doctors, and so on, and so forth, to come and build that country up. And so my father went there, but my father found it corrupt, and so after 3 years, we ended up leaving and going back to England again. But during my time in Nigeria, it was probably one of the best times of my life.
How come?
Because I had friends galore. Yes, I had friends galore.
You found a crew.
I found a crew.
Yeah.
Learned the language, Urdu or Hindi, very similar languages, and watched Indian movies and just had a fantastic time. It was great.
Dang.
Yeah, it was basically play.
And did that also influence your parents as well? Were they having a good time? Or were they still kind of...
Yeah, no, I think there were. My best friend was my mom,
Yeah.
and so I think my dad was started having a good time because he was like the head of the community. He's also a poet, and so we used to do like these monthly gatherings in the community, and all the kids are running around all over the place, and everyone's together and they sing songs or whatever poetry. In our culture, poetry and singing songs, it's like a big deal.
Yeah.
And
It's how you connect.
Yeah, it's how you connect. Yeah.
What about one of your favorite toys or gifts growing up? Do you remember anything?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
What's something that stands out to you?
The one thing that stood out to me was a gift. After we left Nigeria, went back to England, my uncle from Sweden came over and he bought us two things. There's four of us, so between the four of us, he bought us a radio-controlled car.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, amazing. And a train set.
Oh,
Yeah.
those are fun.
Yeah, an electric train set. That's one of the best gifts I've ever had.
I freaking love asking that question.
Yes.
You never know what you're going to hear.
Yeah.
It's so cool, man. The things we remember, right?
Yeah.
What had an impact on us.
Yeah. I still think about them even till today.
That's cool. So middle school seemed, right, middle school era.
Same-ish. Yeah. So there, Nigeria, and then
middle school.
/ over here, England.
Right?
Yeah.
And a little in England. Okay, so you got the news that you're going back to England from the family.
Yeah.
What happened when you heard that news?
Nothing really comes up for me. I'm not really sure why we left. I think I do know why, but retrospectively why we left. I didn't know at the time why we were leaving.
Well, I thought it was just for work, and Nigeria was corrupt.
And it was corrupt. Yeah, retrospectively. Yeah,
okay.
That's why we left. I didn't have an opinion about whether England was a good place to go or it was a bad place to go at that time. At least I don't remember it.
Yeah.
It was just something that we wanted to do and go back, and I wasn't old enough to be able to think about, is this better for me or is this worse for me? And so I think it was framed that this is better. And so we only came back for 2 years. When we left Nigeria back to England, we were only there for 2 years.
And your dad's a doctor.
Yeah.
What kind of doctor?
He was an internal medicine specialist in chest diseases.
And what's your mom doing?
She is a homemaker.
Yeah, so she was making sure the 4 boys weren't getting in too much trouble.
Yeah, something like that.
Now, look, I would say it's safe to say that if people had tough upbringings in the familial unit, that there's going to be some also great times, right? I pray that that's the case, that people get some glimpses of happiness and stuff. What's some things that you remember that were just awesome when you're like elementary or middle school?
So as a brown kid going to an all-white school, I stuck out. And because of that stick out, I was a target for girls. Yeah. They just loved the brown skin. Even though I got picked on all the time, but the girls in England are just mad about brown.
Wow.
Yeah.
At a young age.
You
noticed this?
Yeah, I did that. Well, I used to. There's this tradition. I don't think it's here, but there's this tradition that there's something called the Christmas kiss, and so,
dude,
I never asked for it. And they're like, come over here. And then he just kissed me on the cheek.
Wow.
Too young to do. Yeah. So that was kind of interesting. Yeah.
And what about being at home? I mean, did you like eating dinner with your family, or did you, what kind of special moments do you remember?
Again, a good movie to see, by the way, on how I grew up is just recently came out, maybe a couple of years ago, called Blinded by the Light. So it's about a scrawny Pakistani kid growing up to a tough father in the middle of like somewhere around England. I think it was Manchester, I'm not sure. And when I watched that movie, it was like, oh my God, that's my life.
Yeah.
So Yeah, no, we grew up as a traditional Pakistani family which values togetherness
Yeah.
and family over anything. So,
So,
and then we had friends that we used to frequently visit too.
so there was some warmth.
There was, yeah.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah,
All right. So middle school, did you get any fights in middle school?
I did.
A lot.
No,
No.
I get it. Remember, I'm a scrawny kid with
Right.
low self-esteem, no confidence, and everybody's bigger than me, and I'm the worst at sports. I'm the worst at all these physical games.
Yeah.
But up here, I had strength, and I had a need to defend myself. And so yeah, so that that's where it came from.
So you're beating kids up?
Once,
Oh, sh-
yeah, once. What? I don't know.
It's funny.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I have to think about it.
Yeah.
Think about that. Pretty doing.
Yeah.
Did you ever get in trouble with in school? Middle
Because of my
school?
grades. Yeah,
That was it.
because of my
You
grades.
never got like kicked out of a class for disturbing it or anything?
No.
No.
Yeah, not that I know of. In Nigeria, I did. In
What
Nigeria,
happened in Nigeria? You got kicked out
in
of class?
Nigeria, the punishment was you have. Oh my God. So I've been caned.
Come on.
I've been caned. I've been caned in
The
Nigeria.
first time I ever met, they got caned.
Yeah, I got caned by a teacher in Nigeria. And another punishment of mine was I'm not sure what I did. Maybe I was speaking, or maybe I was flicking, notes, or flicking spitballs or something like that. But one of my punishments was to, if you think about a Nigerian school, the infrastructure is not there. It's like, like a mud hut, or a building that's just been like kind of cobbled together and put up, and the floor is concrete and it's not perfect. And so there was one time where I remember this, where I was asked to kneel in front of the class, facing the class, my arms up and my eyes closed until I was allowed to go. That was my timeout.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's kind of embarrassing and it hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez, man.
Oh, yeah.
I remember, yeah, that's not cool. I remember one time I brought in fart spray into a class.
Yeah.
But the teacher never found out it was me. I would
Right.
go to one end of the room, I'd spray it, and then I'd go to the other end of the room, I'd spray it. And you know what she did? She goes, I know what it is. And I'm thinking, no, you don't. It's my fart spray. You don't know about this. She goes in this cabinet in the classroom, opened it up with a tissue in her hand. I'm thinking, what is she doing? She goes in and pulls this mouse, a dead mouse out by the tail. She goes, it's this. Oh,
Wow, kid. You got away with it.
Yeah, middle school antics.
Yeah.
Times.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's get into high school, right? You're starting to develop
Yes.
as a man.
That's right.
Yeah. What was that like? Where are you living in high school?
So we moved to New York.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
What
we moved
part?
to New York.
Like Manhattan?
Queens.
Melting pot.
Yeah. Melting pot. Howard Beach.
Freaking cool.
Yeah. And then Brooklyn after that. Yeah.
You got to admit, all right, so you got brown, black,
Yeah.
tan,
100%.
all this stuff
All of it.
going on.
All of it.
How was that for you?
So the reason why we moved was because my mother got sick. And her dying wish, she knew she was going to die. Her dying wish was to see her sister in New York and to die with her sister.
Dang.
And so we packed up, left the house full of furniture and everything, and just flew over.
Pulled out all the stops.
Got into New York, and we're in school age, right? High school for me and the other kids. And started high school. And polar opposite. So this was in Queens. The high school was John Adams, and started taking the courses and from an E student. Like, so they have something called the metric system in the A level and O level system in England. and over here they have whatever system that they have.
I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. And where I was, so they rank your um scores A, B, C, or D.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, or 5. So A1 is the highest score, and E5 is the lowest score, right? And A is whatever, and it represents whatever, and 1 represents whatever. And I used to be constantly C, D's, and E's
Yeah.
in England,
Laura and Skip.
lower in the scale.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I turned into an A student. I'm the king of the world.
Whoa.
Yeah. I'm the king of the world in New York. I'm getting 95s, hundreds on my test scores.
What changed?
England is 2 years ahead
Oh.
of the United States. England has probably one of the best educational systems, especially the grammar school, in the world.
Never heard that.
Yeah. English medium. They call it, and the Pakistanis and the Indians are all brought up on English medium. And I think to an extent, Asia is too. America is the only one that has this type of education. It's just a travesty. It's just absolutely ridiculous with the type of education that we have here. And so I became king. All of a sudden, I'm ranking in the 99th percentile in my test scores. I got a 99. I was in the 99th percentile in my SAT when I finished high school. So I came in the 9th, 10th grade.
You're Harvard qualified.
And I had at least 3/4 of a scholarship to NYU.
Yep.
And my Wharton was paid for by my company.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's prime time.
Yeah. So
What a shift.
everything. Yeah.
And that probably boosts your self-confidence.
Oh, I had to learn everything. I had to this was my breakout point. And so remember, I'm still living at home under this very rigid set of rules during high school. So are my 3 brothers. Trying to figure out, okay, who am I? Like, how do I get out of this self-esteem shit that I'm in? And how do you break out of who you really are? And so it took me a long, long time to do that.
Sure.
It wasn't until I graduated. So I went crazy at NYU.
Yes.
I went crazy.
Yeah, because you're the iron fist.
Yes.
Okay. Oppression, rules,
Yes.
rigidity, and all of a sudden, New York freaking City.
Yes.
College.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
What were some of the things you did in college?
Well, I mean, I'm a very conservative, brought up child.
Yeah.
So very sheltered, of course. Like, you just go home and school, and then So I started clubbing, and my friends were of all types, but I didn't go crazy like a, druggie or start drinking. I've never drunk before, and or alcohol. So my crazy is tame, probably, from what you've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my crazy. My crazy was just talking to girls,
Staying out.
yeah, staying out a little bit.
Girls?
Yeah.
What do you mean talking to girls?
Just talking to girls.
What is that? What do you mean? Just talking with them?
Yeah, just talking with them.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. In Manhattan. You're probably having the time of your life.
It was very, very, is definitely an eye-opening part of my life.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, doing really well, trying to figure out, how do I break out of my meekness? How do I break out of this thing where my head is down all the time? Where I'm, just not confident. But I want it so bad.
Yeah.
Because I want to be out. That's who I become. I want to just be the best, and I want to get out, and I want to make tons and tons of money. And so that's basically what I did. I just chased it, and I had to have it. But that realization was in me towards the end of my high school and the beginning of my NYU business school. And I was like, how am I going to get this? And so what's right next to NYU? Wall Street. And that was like, oh my God, what the hell is this? And I think Wall Street had come out already at that time. And not that I saw it. I don't think I saw it until much later. But now I'm hanging around because I'm a finance major.
Yeah.
And I'm hanging around the finance crowd and I'm learning about, all of this stuff.
Is it true? Wolf of Wall Street stuff?
Yeah, it's all true. I saw it.
Oh.
Yes.
Snorting yayo
Of
on my floor.
My first year as a freshman, my first year at NYU, I got a job. And I got a job for this one lady, single lady, like she lived by herself. And her her apartment was her business.
Yeah.
And she was a headhunter. And she said, I want you to headhunt for me. And I want you to headhunt brokers for me. And so she gave me a script. And the script went something like this. So I used to cold call brokers.
Yeah.
And so she's headhunting successful brokers because she's outfitting a new firm. She's been hired by a new firm to outfit it. I think it was Payne Weber at the time, or Prudential. And so I used to call these brokers, these very successful brokers, and say, "Oh, hi, my name is Brian Clark. I was playing tennis at the country club the other day, and I met one of the brokers at your firm, but I forgot his name. So could you, can I describe him to you maybe?" And I'm calling the secretary, the receptionist in the front.
Yeah.
And I say, I'm trying, I'm looking for this person that I was playing tennis with. And I'm trying to get in touch with him because I thought, I'd like to get. So of course he's a broker, and the receptionist is definitely going to try and hook you up with the guy that you're playing tennis with.
Right.
To her
buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she goes, "What did he look like?" I said, "Well, he was average height." Average. She goes, "Oh, okay. Let me just. Was it this one? No." And I'm writing down the names. Was it this one? No. All right. That's my list generation. My lead generation was right there. I need to hand those lead generations to her. She used to call them, and I used to get a commission for everyone that she recruited.
That is so sneaky.
Yeah, and I was getting paid insane amounts of money.
Wow.
I was like, oh yeah, man, freshman in college. It was amazing. And that's where some of my confidence began to come back. And that's where I started started again. And then when I think it was the second year, I got a job at Merrill Lynch as a cold caller in the boiler room.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like suits and the whole thing all the way. And here's this like 19-year-old kid. Yeah.
Raising you.
Oh my
Ready
God.
to conquer the world.
Oh, I
freaking Wall Street.
given it, just handed it to me.
What the heck?
Yeah. And the whole breaking out of this meek, low self-esteem personality,
Yeah.
low self-confidence, was calling up these people and saying, "Hey, I'm Mr. Big. Do you want to invest money in with the blah, 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 blah." So I did that, and that was probably the best experience ever.
I think cold calling itself changed your life.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's part of it. Of course,
because
that's
it
part of
makes
it.
you rejection proof.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah, just keep dialing.
You can get through anything.
Yeah. And so I was already rejected.
Yeah.
In my family. I was already a reject. And now here I am thirsting for that prize, that money, that, superstardom. Just like the Wolf of Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the privilege of his background. He had a privileged background. And so he'd seen the world. I didn't even know what the world was at that time.
Damn.
I'm just learning it right there then. NYU, Merrill Lynch. And I wanted to quit. I actually quit NYU. And I said, no, I'm going to just do this. I'm going to become like a broker and salesperson. And if I became a broker and salesperson at that point, I probably would have been depressed, but I probably would have been pretty successful because I was starting off in like the late 80s, early 90s or whatever it was.
Prime time.
Yeah. Prime time to become a broker.
When things were going haywire.
I know. Oh, but luckily that didn't happen because one of the brokers there, who was sort of a mentor, had an eye on me and he said, "No, you're not going to quit. He said, you need to go back to school. This is what my dad could not convince me of. He said, and I trusted this guy. And so he said, you have to go back to school and you have to go pay your dues. No one does anything without paying their dues. And that's when I learned about the paying your dues. And then, yeah, that was it. And then I hung around people who were designers from Milan, and NYU is like a mosaic of international students.
100%.
Yeah, it's just
What
out
an
of this world.
experience. Just living in New York City. I think everybody in their life should live in New York City for a year.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Just get that cultural experience.
Absolutely.
It's incredible. The energy there,
Yeah.
nonstop. You walk down one block, you just saw 100 people.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
It's crazy.
It's not for me now, though.
No.
Not for me now.
No.
Yeah. It has its time when you're young and you're chasing the dollars. But if you want to chase love for humanity and, goodness, that's not the base. That's a fake existence. You want to kind of move away from that.
To get to the salt of life.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The salt of life. That's exactly right.
Okay. How long did you do that for?
So 4 years, graduated NYU, went to Nomura. Oh, no. Took off for Florida. And became a playboy. Just let it go. Not literally playboy.
What did that look like?
Running away.
Running away.
Yeah, getting out of the house. Okay. Finally done getting out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
That's how desperate I was to get out of the house.
You're in Florida. You're going to the beach all the time.
I'm living in North Miami Beach.
Yeah.
And I'm hanging out with a bunch of friends, and they had apartments on Collins Avenue.
Yeah.
In North Miami Beach, Dade County, and spent about 6 months there. And I did all kinds of odd jobs, trying to break in. Denny's, cashier, a waiter here, a waiter there. But 6 months I couldn't break into something. If I broke into something, I probably would have ended up staying there. But I just couldn't break into something that, I wanted an office corporate job.
Yeah.
I wanted to do something where I could start making money and building a career. But wasn't able to do that. And so I called my dad. And I said, hey, will you take me back? Yeah.
Whoa. What did he say?
He said, absolutely, my son, anytime. Yeah. And he loves me. Yeah. I mean, I love him.
Still around?
He's still around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's he at?
He's in New York.
Nice.
Yeah, still in that house. I mean, we moved a couple of times.
Yeah.
We ended up leaving Howard Beach to live in Brooklyn, which is another depressing, back into the cauldron again. And then we went to Queens, and, by that time I was at NYU and I was moving around and I was graduating NYU. And so now I'm tasting freedom. I'm beginning to taste the freedom. And so it was one job after another.
Yep.
Wow, it's so weird having this conversation with you. It's like I have not had this conversation with anyone. It's really weird, but
kind of cool, isn't it?
It is kind of cool.
Yeah, man.
It is kind of cool
to put your life in a perspective like this.
Yeah.
To really see, whoa.
Yeah.
That's how I got here today.
Yeah.
All these little things add up. It's freaking powerful.
Yeah.
It's an amazing thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, by the way.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah.
Is that still on or?
We got the wide angle.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. So when I graduated, I bumped around for the Florida thing. Then I came back and I was like, tail between my legs. Dad, can I come home? The whole 9 yards. Conservative kid.
Yeah.
Really conservative, good kid. No drugs, no alcohol, no women. Just a good old style Pakistani kid. I come back and I begin rebuilding. Like, okay, I gotta get back into the swing of things, and Wall Street's right here. Get a job on Wall Street. Get into banking. Get into operations. Get into something. And I had a 1-year stint at Nomura, and I wanted Nomura to take me to Japan. Nomura is the biggest bank in Japan.
Oh.
And they had an office here in New York. And so I worked for them, and I begged them. I was like, give me a job, and send me to Japan. That's really where I want to go. I still want to go to Japan. I'm going to retire in Japan. After this mod garden thing is done, I'm going to go to Japan.
Sweet.
So anyway, didn't work out. The 1-year stint was over. And then I got a call. And this is where history was made. So I'm now at another bank, working a temp job.
Yeah.
And working for a managing director, doing some silly stuff. Nothing career oriented, but I'm in the ballpark, but I'm not. I'm on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Like you're not the player yet, right?
What?
I'm in the ballpark. I'm standing on the sidelines, and I'm trying to break in to become a player, right?
Ruthless.
Oh, ruthless. Exactly. And I began learning how to become ruthless. I get a phone call from a friend of mine, and he says to me, listen, I'm quitting my job. I'm doing this. It's admin-y work, but it's a shot at stardom. And I was already in a job at that point, and they wanted to keep me on. It was a bank in Nova Scotia. He said, so this friend of mine goes, I'm quitting. I have to give a referral or recommendation for my replacement. It's only for 2 weeks, but if you want to take the chance, this could lead to other things. But it's going to be up to you. If he likes you, he's a very powerful managing director. So he was the head of agency finance or mortgage finance. I said, yes. I just knew that that was the right call at that point.
Felt it.
I felt it. I said, yes. I go in, I interview, and the guy goes, I'm pleased to meet you. His name was CJ. I'm pleased to meet you. And I hear really good things about you. Here's your desk and go to it. That 2 weeks turned into 7 years. But that 2 weeks turned into me leaving as vice president.
Damn. Are you kidding me?
I'm not. I started off as an admin assistant.
Yeah.
And I left as vice president of mortgage finance. I was an analyst in mortgage-backed securities. And then I moved into a couple of other trading groups, and the rest is history. My bosses are written up in this book called Liar's Poker, which is a book that I would recommend you read by Michael Lewis, who wrote The Big Short.
Yes.
Yes, same guy.
Connected.
Yes. So I was basically sitting in this area where all the people around me were the people in Liar's Poker. Ronnie DePasquale, Jeff Kronthal, CJ DeSantis, Steve Theobald, all of these like multi-million-dollar head of trading, head of mortgages, head of that. And so, yeah, I made it. That was my break. And I had Harvard and Wharton and, Stanford grads, MBAs, just waiting to stab me in the back so they could take my job. And I was like right in the middle of it. I was like literally in ground zero on Wall Street. I was at the top firm in the world, and they were top 3 in almost every category that you can imagine in debt finance.
Right.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah, man.
What was the most surprising thing about being in that space to you?
Oh, surprising. Just how I was one of them.
Huh.
Even though I'm like I'm a shorty, like I'm a little one, like, I'm a junior.
Yeah.
But they treated me as if, and so when I went for a sales job, which I didn't get, I went to Jeff Kronthal, who was a chairman of mortgage finance, and he goes, I see you here at 6 o'clock in the morning when I come in, and when I leave, I still see you sitting at your desk. So if there's anybody that I'm going to recommend, it's going to be you. That's how hungry I was. I was starving.
Why were you so hungry?
Oh, I just wanted it all. I just wanted it. I wanted Wall Street.
Yes.
And I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. The underdog, and I got it. Man. And my last year, so after that, so I'm just going to fast forward a little bit. There's a massive journey in the middle. I'm just going to fast forward a little bit. I ended up, my last year was at Bank of America. This is while I was going through my divorce. My last year was at Bank of America, and I ended up being the highest paid consultant in that group at Bank of America.
Damn.
Yeah, and I was going through my divorce, and that paid for my entire divorce settlement.
Got to pay for it somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
My gosh, dude. Okay, so yeah, this is definitely a story of perseverance, of grit,
Grit.
being relentless.
Yeah.
taking your shot when you see it.
Yeah. I would not be beat.
Taking the risk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where, you're beaten all your life so far down that you have nowhere else to go. And you want it so badly now. That pressure cooker has built up to such a great extent. I managed to keep my wits about me, right? I didn't go to depression. I didn't, go into whatever.
Drug binges.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And my dad always used to say that, if I'm really afraid of you because I think you're going to become a druggie. Because I was really introverted. I was very silent. I kept to myself. I stayed in my room the entire time.
Yeah.
But lucked out.
Yeah.
That is part of the privilege or the opportunity that I spoke about earlier, where this was a building block in my life, a learning opportunity.
Yeah.
Are you going to draw on it and then build the building blocks, or are you going to crash it down and self-sabotage? And that's really the difference between the haves and the have-nots in this world.
And you came from gratitude. Right? You recognize what a gift you've been given.
Yes. I will never not think that way.
And you're paying homage to those gifts
by
being extremely humble and asking yourself, how can I impact?
It's from God, man. It's for the better. It's from God. That's wrong. We are pawns. We are small people in this world, and we have no control. But if you have, I'm not saying that I have goodness in me, but I'm just saying that if you opt for goodness, if you opt for peace and love in this world, you'll be taken care of.
100%. Yeah. The currency is going to come back to you.
The currency will come back.
Sometimes it's monetarily, sometimes it's happiness, sometimes it's both, and everything in between.
That's right.
Yeah. Let's say you got a family member that's going to watch this in 100 years from now. What would you say to them?
Never give up. Never, ever, ever give up.
Yeah, it's choice.
Yeah.
You don't have to if you don't want.
Never, ever, ever give up. And I've nearly given up several times in my life. There's one particular time where I had a multi-million-dollar loss. And I was like, I'm going to lie in my bed for the next 3 weeks and that's it. And people around me knew that, I just ended up losing a lot of money. And I knew they would have sympathy for me. But I'm like, wait a second. I'm going to face my maker alone. They're not going to be around. It's going to be me. Get up. You have all the privileges. And this is what I spoke about. My health, my wherewithal, my emotional intelligence, the ability to think, the ability to do, the education, the privilege of living in a Western society.
The things that actually matter.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right.
So get back up and get in the game.
Thinking. That's right.
Play.
Yeah. You're the only one.
Mm-hmm.
So never give up. Go ahead. Take some time for yourself. We're going to be inevitably slapped around in life. Oh, it's going to happen. You're going to get slapped. You're going to get kicked. You're going to get beaten, and you're going to lose everything. This is an inevitable part of the fabric of life.
It's true. Yeah.
Again, the separations from the haves and the have-nots. I'm not going to say the men from the boys or whatever. You can say it any way you want. But the people who are going to be the ones who lead the charge for a new world, a new, kinder, gentler, better world, are the ones who keep getting up, no matter how many times they've been beaten down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's a powerful message. Holy smokes. I'm freaking fired up, man.
And that was my first 4 years on Wall Street. So when I got that job from that managing director, CJ, during those first 4 years, when I was a trainee junior, they're like, you got to pay your dues. You got to pay your dues. You got to pay your dues. I'm like, I got to go home at 9 o'clock.
Pay your dues.
You got to stay here and you got to pay your dues. There was nothing else other than that.
And they were right.
And they were right. That's where I learned. That's where I learned about life. And that's where I got my confidence.
Good on them for not holding back.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Really showing you what it's like.
Oh, no.
You want to be successful?
He's like,
this is what it really takes.
Yeah, he's like, there's 600 people waiting behind you. You don't want to do it? No problem. Stand aside. And I was like, nope. I'm going to do it. And I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I was like an E5 student, a D student.
Yeah.
And here I am standing on top of the world at Merrill Lynch. I'm standing on top of the world.
Folks, yeah, if this doesn't get you jacked up to just go kick some ass in whatever you want to do in life, I mean, I don't know what will. This is one heck of a story.
Whatever you want, you can have. Whatever you want.
For the take.
It's yours for the taking. You have but to ask for it.
Ask for it and ask yourself how you're going to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep asking the powerful questions.
Yes.
Every day. Aamar, for those that didn't watch the first episode, how do they get a hold of you?
So probably the best way to get a hold of me is I have a personal Twitter account, Aamar Khwaja. And I also have a personal Instagram, Aamar Khwaja. But I run a company called Mod Garden at Mod Garden on Instagram and at Mod Garden on Twitter or X.
For those, if you didn't catch the first episode, make sure you check out Mod Garden. It's going to change the world indefinitely. And this right here is the man that's going to do it with that entity. It's freaking awesome. I'm your host, Greg Carlson. Pivotal Moments Podcast was the old name of this show, and it's now called Elite League Podcast. Man, thanks for
my pleasure. My pleasure.
Charging the storm and paving the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Till next time, everybody, stay fired up.